Hey guys, it's Hannah from the Gloria Living channel. Today, I want to touch on what I think are some of the most common problems that gardeners run into with seed starting that will either stunt your seedlings, kill your seedlings, and just cause you headaches. Okay, let's go check it out. Guys, it's finally spring, and honestly, it is freezing here in East Tennessee. It is beautiful out, but the weather just dropped, and it's a chilly, chilly day. But it is still beautiful when the wind slows down, and it's a great day to talk about starting seedlings. For your summer garden, you should be starting seedlings at this point in most areas, if not all areas, I would think, in the United States. And you know what? It's that time of year that's very exciting because things are popping up and flowers are starting to bloom and so are the trees, but it could also be a time of stress for gardeners trying to get everything ready, as well as figuring out and troubleshooting some of the problems they may be running into. I've learned a lot of lessons the hard way in gardening over the years, and I want to share a few of those with you. I want you to have the most success with growing your plants and especially starting your seeds at home for your garden, because I think it really is the most cost-effective way to start a large garden and gives you the most options. So one of the tips I think is helpful when trying to figure out what do I need to do to be successful is looking at the people who are doing it successful. When you go into a professional greenhouse, you're going to see three things that they have going to keep their plants healthy and happy. You're going to see lots of light, warmth, and airflow. Big fans blowing, the light shining through. It's going to be hot in that greenhouse, and they're going to be getting the heat and the light on those plants. Those are the types of things you're trying to mimic while seed starting and keeping your seedlings healthy before they go outside. So all the problems that you're going to run into with your seedlings are going to be caused by a lack of those elements that your seedlings desire and need to grow strong and healthy. So number one problem that you're going to run into with your seedlings, and I think is one of the most common ones, is leggy seedlings. Let's go talk about that. Okay, we are inside near our seeds, and I'm going to explain to you a few things that can happen. The legginess of seedlings, or they're thin and skinny and they don't seem to be strong and thick, that is a sign of legginess. And it either means that you have too much heat on your plants, or what is most common is you don't have the right light. If you see them stretching towards a light source, that is making them leggy. They're not getting enough light. Let me kind of show you what I mean. Try to get the best angle I can, and I've got my fan going here to keep them, but you see one of these right here. This guy is stretching in towards the light. Let me see here. You can see some of these are a little more straight and some of those are bending towards the light. That is a sign that those ones might feel like they are a little bit out of the comfortable reach of this lamp. I've been wanting to get my other grow light in here, and hopefully that'll help them a little bit. Look at a few that are bending towards the light. If you are seeing that, then you are seeing a sign that you need to adjust your lighting for your seedlings. It's hard inside to completely mimic the sun's lighting hitting them, which is so strong and powerful compared to our grow lights, not even comparable, right? And so when we're trying to do that with our grow lights, it can be a little bit of a challenge to get the perfect lighting on our seedlings, but that's going to help them grow strong and thick. And so we want to fight that legginess so that we don't get tall, wimpy plants, but strong, thick seedlings. As I also said, too much heat can cause this as well. If you've got a heating pad and the plants are maybe getting too warmed up or your house is too warm, that is sometimes a cause. And then see, are my plants getting too much heat? I just turned off our fan while talking just in case it's a little bit loud. But that is what I actually want to talk about next as a great tool to have for seedlings. Okay, one of the other problems that you're going to run into with seedlings can be disease, and that is also connected to watering. So I want to kind of combine those 2 points of balancing your watering as well as preventing disease with that. So one of the things that I've run into and failed in with seedlings is because we live in a cramped space, trying to find the perfect spot for my seedlings and also not be blinded by the bright grow lights. And I have made mistakes of putting them in too stuffy of places, them getting too much moisture, and giving my seedlings diseases that they couldn't live off of, and they died. And you don't want to plant unhealthy seedlings anyways into your garden. You want something that's going to be strong and produce lots of harvest for you. So I want to give you tips on preventing diseases and funguses from growing in your seedlings. Let's start with talking about watering in relation to diseases. One of the issues, besides just overwatering and underwatering that can hurt seedlings, is that if you give too much water and you soak them, you can either rot the roots of your plants, but also if they're getting too much water and there's not a good airflow and they're in these wet conditions, that is also cause for stuffy and wet conditions are also cause for funguses and diseases. So you don't want to expose your plants to that. That's something I am guilty of having a hard time doing, is wanting to give too much water. You don't have to always have a schedule. In fact, you probably cannot really have a schedule for watering your seedlings. You don't want the dirt absolutely bone dry, but you don't want it sopping wet. You want your seedlings to be drying out their soil somewhat. And so, you don't want them to be too thirsty, but I would say it's better to err on the side of a little bit drier of a soil than it is to have too much wet soil. Trust me, that is my Achilles heel. I am bad about that. So don't do what I do and be better about that and protect your plants, because otherwise you will start getting funguses growing in the soil and maybe even hurting your plants. That's what happened last year, and you'll know because they'll start to yellow and wilt and they will die, and it'll be fast if it happens. So prevent that by being careful with your water. Another way is keeping good airflow. We have a tiny fan back here that works wonders. It's just a little clip-on fan that we have plugged in, and it blows all over the seedlings, and that's great, not just for keeping good airflow, but also it strengthens your seedlings. Truly, it helps them, it mimics wind, and it'll make them stronger. You don't think about that, but your plants need to get used to, the heat from the sun and also the wind. If you can put a fan on them, that will help good air circulation happen, as well as help prevent disease. Last but not least, hardening off your seedlings. If you don't do this correctly, you're gonna kill your seedlings. Straight up, you're gonna kill them. And it's like the last step before you put them into the ground. So what does it mean to harden off your seedlings? Okay, if you want to harden them, it means you want to get them tough. You want to get them strong. You want to get them ready for the outdoor elements, which are a lot harder than the indoor elements. Honestly, you have pampered your plants, right? You have tried to make these perfect conditions for them. And you know what? Outside, it's not always absolutely perfect, right? So they need to be a little bit tougher to handle, like I was saying earlier, the intense heat of the sun and as well as wind. So what does it mean to harden off your seedlings? I'll give a video later on with step-by-steps on how to harden off your seedlings, but it's a simple process of just slowly bringing your seedlings outside. And what that means is you might start a few weeks before, like maybe 2 weeks, maybe a week at least, maybe 2 would be better, before putting them into the garden. And the first day you're gonna bring your seed trays outside for about an hour, bring them back in. Do it again the next day. And as the weeks go on, you're going to give more and more time outside. If you bring your small seedlings straight outside and put them in the dirt from being inside to outside, they're going to croak because it's going to be way too much for them. They're going to not be used to the harsh heat, like I said, the wind, and they're just going to shrivel up and die most likely. So you need to toughen them up and harden them off. And so you need to give them that little bit of time of strengthening and getting accustomed to the outdoors before you straight up plant them into the ground. Trust me, guys, you do not want to spend weeks building up this huge amount of seedlings for your garden that are beautiful and ready to go, or else to kill them in the last few weeks because of a simple mistake like that. So be careful hardening them off and don't forget to do it. It can be a pain. You don't want to bring them in and out. But guys, it's worth it. And once you're enjoying your fresh produce from the garden, you'll be glad that you did it right. Guys, thanks for tuning in today for some quick tips on how to avoid killing and hurting your seedlings. Guys, there are other problems that can happen with seedlings and things we can do that can cause issues. There are a million ways to go wrong, but you know what, guys? Don't be discouraged. You can do it, and it's not really that hard. There's just a few things you have to manage to make sure that you've got good light and good temperature and good airflow on those seedlings, and they will be happy and healthy. So guys, thank you for tuning in. If this video was helpful to you, please give it a thumbs up. Please share it with your friends and your family. And as always, please subscribe to the channel. It's the best way to support us in creating this content for you. Okay, guys, thank you so much. And until next time, we'll see you soon.